Alright everyone, we now have a funny story regarding TDS sufferers. Again, I keep telling people that psychoanalysis has shown that leftoids and TDS sufferers in general have a real weird fascination with Poopoopeepee. And it's not like in the meme lord sense of Pepe, so, you've got Poopoopeepee frog, and it's off the wall on purpose because, you're just shitting all over the establishment because you find the chaos funny. They've got an obsession with the idea of Trump being pathetic, impotent, being forced to submit, or grab you by the hair and drag you out of the Mar-a-Lago, pooping and screaming the whole way. It's become a kind of a weird obsession, actually, and at first maybe it was only occasional. It's become worse now. Link in the description, for example. Mike Sington is relating a comic that was made by Paul Lay, and it's the courtroom sketch of Trump, while the judge is talking, but it's been changed so that he's in his underwear. Courtroom sketch of Donald Trump's arraignment today after Trump had wet his pants. Look down through the replies on this. What do you see? A shit ton of Poopoopeepee for the most part. This has been happening for a number of years. When I wrote Orange Man Bad and Orange Man Bad 2, by the way, links in the description to those. Many of you would enjoy it. By the way, Orange Man Big Part 2 is better than the first one, actually, in my opinion. Fewer people have bought it because it hasn't been up as long. So enjoy, and please leave a rating if you get a copy of either of those. When I talk about leftoids or TDS sufferers, some of them are neocons, having an obsession with Trump that verges in on the bizarrely sexual, so the fetishistic, I'm not joking. I really genuinely believe that some of these people have inner feelings of hopelessness and despair, and so because they've been convinced Orange Man Bad, they're projecting, psychologically, their own feelings of helplessness on Trump and sort of in a bizarre, perverted manner, trying to get him to feel the same way that they feel about themselves. Some of them, I suspect, have fetishes that go beyond masochism, by the way. They feel this psychological urgency and this need, a driving need, to project weakness onto other people because they themselves feel weak and it makes them feel better about themselves. It's projection. I diagnose a large swath of people with TDS with a bizarre form of sexualized projection. It's poo-poo, it's pee-pee, it's small penis, and stuff like that. I mean, what else do we even get at this point in the form of social commentary from some of these individuals? It's not a joke. It's funny, but it's not even meant to be a joke. And again, Orange Man Big is fundamentally a partially true series of short stories about people who clearly have lost their goddamn minds. They talk about Trump incessantly while rendering him unimportant. They say he's pathetic and a loser and unimportant. Let me make my 15th tweet of the day about him. This is their entire existence in some cases. Now, I'm not saying that every critic of Trump is engaged in Poopoopeepee or even outright TDS in some cases. They have legitimate concerns about Trump. Hey, I have a problem with the gerontocracy. Trump's in his 70s. Fair enough, although I would point out that his opponent is 4 years older and much more mentally decrepit. That's fine. Maybe you say, well, I voted for Trump because I wanted the wall built. He didn't build the wall. Now, I may disagree with your summation of the situation at the southern border. Wall was built, yes, replacing a simple vehicle barrier with a 30-foot bollard counts as new, and almost 500 miles were built. That's pretty good. It was good enough for me. It would have been better if the Republicans in Congress hadn't strangulated it for several years when Trump already had a majority capable of funding it. You'll notice that many of those same people vote often in favor of sending more aid to Ukraine. We'll be talking about that in our live stream today about polling, new polling showing the American public is finally soured actually on that. A majority no longer supports sending more aid to Ukraine, regardless of who they back in the war and then the proxy war that's going on. But most of the criticism from some people seems to be nothing more than, here's Trump, he's depicted the same way all the time. He's ponderously fat, so he's like a balloon or something, with crazy hair, although I think that's actually fitting. He does have a unique haircut. You can say whether or not you believe that it's particularly aesthetic, but it's kind of part of his brand, so I leave him alone on that one. Although it would be funny if Trump grew a beard. He would look goddamn hilarious with a big Rasputin beard, or even a little goatee. Can you imagine he grows a mustache? They'd be comparing him to Hitler. Oh my God, Hitler had a mustache too. You know, in their TDS, they would actually claim that. He's trying to be more like his spiritual mentor. You know that would actually be real. You'd see articles about that on HuffPo and Salon and Slate and some of the others. And it's not an exaggeration at this point. The system's melted down so much that they threw out 250 years of civic precedent in order to indict a former president and current presidential frontrunner. The individual components of the public that created that corrupt system act similarly. There's a similarity between the people get the government that they deserve more often than not in a democratic system, which is why governments tend to be loaded with drug users and crazy people and pathetic stooges, because many people are corrupt in the population as well, or they're ignorant and lazy and stupid. The TDS has taken hold in the public as well, and individuals with a severe case of TDS constantly think about Trump's penis. Well, also projecting. If you bring up Hunter Biden, of course, they say, well, you must like his dick pics. Well, that doesn't have to be your focus. They're the only ones bringing it up. They bring it up habitually. I would note that's another form of psychological projection. We're dealing with people that are mentally sick when we talk about TDS. It's a real syndrome. It's a plethora of different symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome writ large. It's a psychosis almost. It should be a diagnosable mental illness, a real one, unlike, seasonal affective disorder. An actual one. We should be giving these people pills like we do to every other person in society anyway. Clearly they need some antidepressants or something. Why don't we just give them weed? Maybe they'll be happier about themselves when they're high. Just get them drunk at a very minimum. Give them some booze. TDS sufferers are literally... It's not a joke anymore. Maybe at one time it was, but now it is literally a wall of Poopoopeepee. Again, I offer this link as evidence of that. It's hilarious for all the wrong reasons. It's almost a cell phone from people that are constantly and habitually talking about Trump soiling himself when he's afraid. He knows that his comeuppance is coming, and so he rolls around in his own feces like a big fat baby, and weird shit like that. You're projecting your own self-hate and masochism more than anything else. That's about all. Peace out.